practically speaking, these days, where we live. But maybe I don't know.
Right. So that was my impression also, Dave. So that was right also. But it seems that there are so many areas. Did people get to the end? Usually people don't get to the end. But it seems that it seems to me that the guiding principle was that any clothing which is meant to keep you warm. That's what the Mishnah says. Any clothing which is used to keep you warm. So that's where it's going to be an issue. So belts, is not going to be a problem.
Why would a mattress be a problem?
So mattresses, excellent. So mattresses, it seems like there's like an opinion who says to me machmir, but most of the opinions say you don't have to wear a mattress because you're just lying on top of it. Excellent. That there are shittas that are machmir, but I think when we're talking about getting to look into more of our begadim, or what we're going to look into more of our things, mattress is the least of our worries. There was a whole discussion about shoes. If you have wool shoes and you have linen socks, you have two things which are not necessarily attached. I think there's a loophole also, this idea that they're not woven together. There seems to be machmer shitot and everything. I think
I read that part. It said if you can't pull the bottom one out from under the top one, yet take the top one off, then it's considered shotguns, even if they're not attached.
Right, the Chazan Ish was machmer for shoes. He wouldn't wear linen socks with wool shoes because of this chumrah. So my take on this, and maybe I'm just trying to feel less bad about myself, is that many of us are probably more along the lines of where myself and David expressed, that we maybe Bikoshi, what we're doing is checking our suits. If that, I think that's been the one thing that I, growing up, knew that I needed to check my suits. And therefore, I think we should, at least there are haterim to rely on in terms of shoes because they're not attached. That was an important one, that it's not woven. By the way, the whole acronym, were people familiar that the idea of shatnez is an acronym? Shua Tavoy Naz. Right? And what does that mean? It means that if you weave together, if you bring together two materials, so you're distancing God. So why are you distancing God? So maybe you have to go back to those earlier shittos, which is the reason, the time behind the mitzvah is because maybe you're like not okay with the bria. The bria, Hashem created certain types of entities, different types of products, and by you creating a new product, by taking two products and making a new creation, it's like you had to one-up God. Like God's world wasn't good enough, and you're creating shatnez, it pushes away God. Again, one approach is that shat is just a chok, we don't really understand it. There are a few very interesting explanations in the beginning that I think I literally knew not, very, very minimal about this subject. Did people surprised also with the kind of hevel? You saw that source also?
Yeah.
That perhaps it was a combination of the two different flax and linen. So, yeah.
Sorry, I guess I'm not understanding. Is the actual prohibition on the mixing or the wearing? And how does it affect if someone else did the mixing? Like nowadays, we don't make our own
right. It seems to be on the wearing.
Mattresses.
It seems to be on the wearing.
Or sheets or whatever, I mean.
Right, we're purchasing.
You wear a sheet.
No, still about
right. No, it's all about the wearing. In terms of sheets, the problem with sheets, first of all, sheets are not usually wool. Sheets could be linen maybe, but they're not going to have wool. They're cotton. Most of them are synthetic. So I think most sheets were okay. He said the thing with sheets is we're afraid that maybe you'll drape them over you. So I like to be under my sheets. I don't know who doesn't want to be under their sheets. But there is the Mishnah did mention. Yeah, I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts, and I don't have like a prepared shir. But the Mishnah did mention an exception if it's not directly on your flesh. So especially in the winter, I'm like sleeping in sweatpants and a t-shirt. I've got my pajamas on. If you got the hoodie on, then you have nothing to worry about. It's only really if I guess, was there a time where people did not wear pajamas? Did people historically not wear pajamas?
That would kind of negate the whole.
They still don't.
We're not going to go there.
We're not going there. You're on camera.
Why with like a jacket or overcoat suit?
Well, it's anything. That's interesting. That's a good question. So maybe, Joseph was asking if there's this exception that's only directly on your flesh, then why is an overcoat or a suit jacket a problem? I wonder if it has to. Anyone have an answer?
There's something here about if it keeps you warm.
Well, if it keeps you warm.
If it keeps you warm, it's a shot. And then you can't.
Right. Right. It seems that there are
Even
different.
if you're rubbing your hands on a towel of shackles, you can't use it.
Right. It just seems that there are lots of chumras, and I think for many of us who are not ready to take our entire house to the shatnez check guy, so I think we should start with.
Well, we have those little labels all over the place.
I think we should probably start with making sure our wool stuff. Anything which is wool looks like it might have a problem. I think those are things that we should definitely get checked out. I think it was also another thing I never thought of, but often I do just check the label. I just read the label if it doesn't say. I'm just. This is the opposite. This is actually to scare us. But there's, I don't know if it's a footnote or it was one of the sources that apparently legally, if it's under 15% of an item, did anyone see this?
That they don't.
You don't have to report it if it's less than 15% of the article, which means that looking at it's like kashrus.
Yeah.
Can you just read the label?
It's
really similar to
like
kashrus.
it's less than 2%, they don't have to put it on the.
But this is less than 15%.
15%.
That's a pretty sizable amount of your beged could be made out of linen, and no, not the FDA, whoever is the in charge of what they're putting in your thing. So they
usually put in cheaper material.
is that what it is?
I would think.
He said
Unless he sends it to China.
he said you can't trust your local non-Jewish tailor at Macy's or wherever
Well, the
because
suit will never say linen. It says like, I mean, now they try to say like
100%
200% wool. You know,
200%.
like in Florida, they
what does
get
that
thin-
mean? 200.
In Florida, they get thinner and
It
thinner.
means
So
double
like
weave.
the wool got exactly, and it got like really breathable, and it would never say linen on it. But I mean, I guess you can check it.
Yeah. Yeah,
parts
I
of
would.
the
I just be honest because David's. I'm Imanochi with Tzara. I think this is the most eye-opening of all the shirim I've seen of coming in really having not a thorough understanding of the sugya and realizing that there's probably a lot of growth I could do in this area, and I think we have to be somewhat realistic in terms of what we're going to do now that we have this information. I can't imagine we're going to start bringing, like Michael said, our little tags and our couches and our mattresses and our. So I think you have the heter, the matches that you're lying on, and he said the heter anyone if you're in a hotel, any public sphere. So then it's not your job to check it. It's not your job to go to a hotel to worry about it. But it seems that we should be more. I think this should open my eyes that we should be more mindful that buying something which is clearly a wool. Like if you have a cashmere wool sweater, so then you should be getting it checked, or at least at the very least looking at the label to see what's in it. And if it says linen, then the next step is to then bring it to a shatnez guy. I don't think I would have even realized you need to do that for a cashmere. I think I just like David. I was just thinking suits, but it seems that it's really a bigger sugya. So. There's a very scary chart if anyone looks at the back. It's like it goes item by item, basically saying everything needs to get checked. It said there's just a few interesting things. It says one should check garments in which significant alterations were made. They're placed in a lining to ensure that shatnez is not inserted unintentionally into the garment, specifically if the tailor is from Eastern Europe. Many tailors use linen materials and reinforcements, and occasionally sew buttons with linen threads. Again, he goes through your boots, your fur coats, the lining on the fur coats have potential problems. Fur hats, you gotta check your shtreimel for shatnez. I mean, these are like, I never would have even thought of these as
Most of our
being-
stuff is fake.
What?
I mean, I know most of my stuff is fake.
Right. It could be elaborate. Let's say that.
Fake probably. Yeah.
I want to say one
For
other
my
thing.
perm costume.
We have Brenda here, so I want to give something that Brenda, correct me if I'm wrong. I never in my life heard my sister, my mother, any woman I ever know say, I have to take something for shatnez checking. And he says, he goes
But
to
I
the
feel
chart.
guilty about it.
But have you ever heard a woman say, I've
handbags.
never heard a woman
No.
use the
I've
word
never heard
shatnez.
that.
And he says, and he brought the minchas.
I mean,
It
is there a
is.
sign in the women's dressing room, check your clothes for shackles?
I've never heard of this,
Well,
but
coats,
it seems.
coats are a common thing. to check.
Of women checking coats?
For men or women.
I've never heard a woman say the word shatnez. I think we are just very ignorant when it comes to this.
When we were younger, we were told, why would you think they're shatnez? For instance, in a suit. They used to use linen to stiffen the collar in a
Right.
very expensive suit. Today it isn't. I remember years
We
ago.
don't do that anymore? I wouldn't know.
I don't know. I called up. I remember this is going back 30, 40 years ago. I called the shatnez laboratory.
That
And I
was
asked
a common place to find shackles.
Yeah.
The college.
So
That's
I-
where they check you.
I asked them, what kind of suits can you buy?
The band of the under the belt, the
Like
band of
elastic
the pants.
area over there.
No, the band of the pants to keep it rigid.
Because linen has a certain rigidity to it, or what does linen do that
It's
It's different.
it's stiffer than wool?
Yeah, it's almost like a solid piece of plastic.
So it's
very
kind of like
stiff.
a
It's
college
stiff.
day,
It's stiff the way I
old school
remember it.
college days. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I remember years ago I called up the Chapman's laboratory and asked them what brands of suits can I. He was very reluctant to tell me because I might not get it checked afterwards. When I told him, I just wanted to buy it so I wouldn't have the problem of having to bring it to a tailor afterwards and have the collar, removed. Then he would tell me. And there were a whole bunch of brands that definitely
You were on like the.
are very unlikely to have sharpness, and there were brands that were very likely to have sharpness.
Maybe we should try to get hold of this list and how people. I mean, it seems to me like I have to bring my whole wardrobe or all my wool, any wool sweaters, my coat, Shabbos coat. It seems like there's a lot of potential
It's
problems.
so inexpensive to have things checked nowadays.
Where do people go in Fair Lawn? It's been a problem. We don't have.
Rabbi Creighton.
He does the Judaica store.
I was gonna say,
I just
on-
got a couple.
On West Englewood, they have a store.
I'm supposed to get it.
I did mine in the Heights. They used to do it in the Heights. He was Nifter, that person in the Heights.
Well, the Judaica
That
house
person
picks up.
He was Nifter, yeah.
Judaica house picks up Monday and returns on Wednesday if it's good. And there's another place on West Englewood Avenue. It's like Wednesday.
I mean, Weinberger did some of mine in Fair Lawn. He had that mitzvah day a couple years ago showing to that brought a lot of my
There's a mobile shot in his lab. You call 845-262-8502, and they'll show up at your house.
Based out of where?
That is
Four or five is once
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the mobile lab in the God Express parking lot, so you can get around.
You saw the mobile shot in this guy?
Yeah, just took down the number.
Okay, so I-
program for the neighborhood.
We're gonna stop here. I think this is just a very eye-opening study. I hope for everyone else it was eye-opening, and at your own discretion, decide to look through the chart of what needs to be looked into. Okay? Thanks, everyone, for coming.
There was something in there, I didn't quite read it carefully enough.